Because Carlos was saying, if you're surrounded by good actors, you will lift your game to be good. But
I feel that was more about Margot Robbie though.
But and I agree. But he also said, if you're a good actor, then you will lift your game. Whereas that guy was sort of not. But he was quite average.
It's a hard. I thought what they did. It was very hard to follow. The first Joker since Heath Ledger, and he's died, and he's probably the greatest, arguably the greatest acting performance since. But they totally changed. It was the gangster Joker.
Yeah,
they didn't
say that.
They didn't even. It's not. It's different. You can't compare.
Yeah, apparently the guy that played that Joker, he was promised like a follow-up movie, but he wanted the Joker, but
he was going to get the Phoenix one.
Yeah, but no, he wouldn't have. Yeah.
And the reason why is because
but Phoenix is just perfect.
He didn't have it though,
because you need already to be fucked up to be able to play that. You can't act that. You can't act that.
He had that gangster sort of pimp vibe about him.
Yeah, it was a different Joker.
He did good. He did a substantial amount to back that role.
Yeah,
but at the same time, he was backing Margot Robbie, like you said.
Yeah, it was more of a backing. Do you know about Phoenix?
No.
Before? I don't even know much about him, but that was something about him too. How before, it's almost better if you knew how he was before him playing Joker, of how in the industry, like how he was looked at, like how he was a bit of a
People didn't like him.
Just in a weird way.
Well, he's not well in the head. Yeah. Like as a person, I think he's not. But
in a way,
obviously, he had a wonderful script as well. So he had a wonderful script. He had, again, a couple of good actors with him. Obviously, he had De Niro there as his as one of his sidekicks.
I feel like writers are the main. They're like the behind the scenes.
Well, it's always about the story. Yeah. It's about the story. Right. You can have some of the greatest films I've seen were low budget and not great acting, not great directing, not great production, but the story's beautiful.
They're the most captivating ones.
I actually want to oppose that.
If you look on Netflix and you just find a terrible movie, terrible actors, but it's got a really beautiful storyline, and it will captivate you to the point where you're like, why the fuck am I watching this terrible movie?
No, I actually think
because you actually watch it out.
Personally, I actually think it's the actor who adopts that. Like, you got to think, okay, let's put it in perspective right now. You write the most brilliant story. For instance, let's grab Papillon. Let's grab Papillon right now, us three. We get it. That's a story. We have the words. We got everything. Then it is turned into a script. But how those actors, and this is what it is, like from there, like it looks easy to say, yeah, they just pretend to do this. But it's the actual actor. These little things they do, their little facial expressions, the way they interpret those lines, and there's a sentence they get, and there's the way they say it, there's little things they add that actually change the whole movie.
But I actually think it's the way different tier though, and they also there's a
story. The story is important. I actually feel like that it's the director with the shots that they take, everything else like that, and the actor overtakes the story. I feel like if you have a terrible story but you have good actors and a good director, it's more powerful. Yeah. That's my opinion.
I feel like
I do.
A good example is, have you seen Django Unchained?
Mm.
In that, it's Quentin Tarantino, great director. However, you got to have these experienced actors that have worked with a lot of other directors, other writers.
That's actually a good example.
That can incorporate those situations.
That's a good
and have those.
Perfect, actually, a good pickup.
And then
perfect example.
You got
best story, great director, Tarantino, and DiCaprio.
And DiCaprio does this.
It's actually not the best story. It's a black guy.
It's shit. It goes for fucking ages.
He's a slave. He breaks out. He goes to the rich white guy. Who's DiCaprio comes in late, but
and it drags on.
It's almost like. When you watch it, you're almost waiting for DiCaprio. Yeah. And he comes... Have you seen it?
Basically, you can...
No, I've seen it, but it is a bit like we're talking about Cameron Smith, already that they have an aura, so of course you're going to... These people can carry a movie and a story, but I personally didn't like that movie. I mean, I think...
Django Unchained.
I haven't liked any of the movies that Tarantino's done since... Pulp Fiction, to tell the truth. I mean, not loved.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, have you seen that?
No, I mean, I want to watch that. I think he needs more editing. He just needs to...
Kill Bill's not great.
Yeah, it's all right, but I think
Kill Bill's not great.
He just needs to... It just needs more I like more concise, more editing.
Okay. Gran Torino.
Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, great movie, but that's Clint Eastwood, isn't it?
That's correct. It is.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it was Tarantino that directed it.
No,
It's
it's Clint Eastwood. He directed and acted in it.
Great movie though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a wonderful movie because it's a wonderful story, But I think you're right. Like, you need the problem with film, especially today, is that you need there's lots of factors, but it starts with the story. I think, and it doesn't have to be complex.
That's the foundation of that.
But you need the right director, you need the right actors, and that's where the skill is to get the right people involved.
But you also have to have that. You have to have that.
Story is a lot.
You have to have the chemistry between the director and the actor.
No.
And when it's higher tier, the directors usually respect the actors to make those little breakaway moments that become monumental.
Yeah. Now, fair enough. To make the greatest movie ever, it's all three. For more so, my point is, I feel like a good director and actor can save a film more. Is what I'm trying to say. More
What I think
on a shit story.
Yeah. I think
That's what
a wonderful example is
Great actor, great director.
Yeah, terrible movie.
Shit storyline, and they can save it for you.
they can save it, but it won't be memorable. I think it's like.
What's your favorite movie of all time? Name your favorite number one. What's your favorite movie? It's hard to one. Name.
If you're saying
a few.
one,
Throw out some names.
can I say three?
Yeah, say three off the top of your head.
Boondock Saints,
Great movie.
The 42.
Haven't seen it.
Please watch that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, if you pause, it's mainly them two, isn't it? They're the first two that I go to. Boondock Saints,
Seven.
fucking insane.
Anyone seen Seven?
7 is good.
So I'm just saying Seven. Departed. Here's another
yeah.
example. Actors.
Mark Wahlberg.
Freeman, Brad Pitt, Wahlberg, DiCaprio, Nicholson. Who else?
I haven't. Honestly,
but listen. This is what I'm saying is, these are great stories as well. This is why I made them the best.
but I feel like at the same time,
Me?
at the same time,
truth. I mean, one of the greatest movies I've ever seen was Joker, to tell the truth, and that's only come out last year. And it's the only movie I watched. I went to the cinema to watch twice, but
you could probably connect to that better on.
I connect to it being a psychological. I just thought it would, if I had enough influence to ask someone to make me a movie, that's what I'd ask them to watch because I love it.
Yeah.
That's
what I mean, yeah.
I just thought it was absolutely perfect. The balance of what they had with humor, drama. And so forth. Of course, we know of the
realistic and relatable.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like they didn't go too above and beyond to be a superhero that sort of shit. Movie.
How good is it? How they adapted. So obviously there was the old comic book, then there's the Heath Ledger Joker, and then adapting the Joker to reality with the fake laugh of why he laughs, and he's got the actual. Like how, and you actually go, oh my, like how?
Well, the script is just wonderful. You care about the actor, and that's the hard part to do, for people to care about the actor. So in a way, society forced him to be like. But just the way it was filmed, I love that 70s look. I love the acting. I love the editing. It was concise. He didn't go overboard. He ended beautifully. And also, it left you with a nice taste in your mouth. With regards to Seven, for example, it's a wonderful film, but it leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth. You know what I mean? And I think art always has to be, for me, uplifting.
I agree. I completely agree with that. I hate watching a movie. Like I watched that. I watched like the first horror movie that I ever watched, but Strangers. Have you seen that? And it's like husband and wife. They just came home from a wedding. They were in an argument or whatever. They go to bed. He's got flowers set up and shit like that. And like these three people come into the house and end up fucking killing him and shit like that. The end of the movie. I mean, horror movies might be different. They might just always end in that fucking just leave you like shit. But this movie ended up, she was like pregnant, and then the chick stabbed her through the stomach or some shit. It's just fucking like, why would you want to leave like that? It's like the Green Mile. Like that movie makes you feel like shit the whole time.
See, And
then the ending of it, it's like I can go to bed now and I can sleep.
See, I've always been different to you. I noticed though, because there's a few movies like for example, Law Abiding Citizen. When I said how good of a movie it is, but you couldn't watch it because of the start. Like fair enough. Everyone has a different. Like it's fair enough. Some of them, like
Maddie said to me.
To be fair, I didn't have a child at the time, so I didn't. Obviously, I remember you saying, well, if you had a child, you'd see it's different.
Crazy,
but
heaps different. Especially when you have a daughter. It's the same as a Green Mile.
but
I feel like the same way as the Green Mile.
I've never had a thing where I've had to finish happy. In some way, almost, depending on the storyline, I respect. So just for instance, 7, the ingenuity of the villain. It's almost because I love the fact, like in how rare. It's you like Batman. You go through the movie and you always love the Joker, but to go through a movie and be supporting the main role, and getting to the end, and you follow these characters and you get to the villain, and they're there, and then you almost like you don't see how evil it is, but how genius like it was, and it flashes back. Like I don't say like I've just never been one that has to end on a happy ending. I feel like I prefer the twist and the, you know what I mean? I have to end with a good note. I'm more like, wow, what a ending, rather than having to go, okay, the good guy won.
Well, it's different, isn't it? It's a different way to look at it.
Yeah, no, I'm not into happy endings either, but I just think in the end there has to be closure. You know what I mean?
Well,
and 7 doesn't give you the closure. I think it would have been far better off for me anyway. Because in a way, when the character, the character of Brad Pitt, when he's aiming the gun at him at the end, you just want him to pull the trigger. I mean, because you're in his shoes.
That's right. And
I thought would have far better off if he just killed him. You know what I mean? And because it would have. I know what the director's thinking. He's thinking like that's what the guy wanted, so he didn't do it. But it's it just leaves you with his.
And that's probably what he went for. Because you're leading up. You're watching this whole movie, and then at the end, that's when you disconnect from that character.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
And that's probably what he was going for.
That's it's the multi levels of suspense of you would do it and you do it, but we haven't even brought it up yet. The perfect example of that, Inception. We haven't even brought up Inception yet. Inception, the ending.
Overrated movie.
One of the most in that scenario.
I like that.
Okay, you like that. Yeah. But even though, because I guess there's no either way's happy.
Why
Shutter Island?
It's not about happy. I think
Shutter Island's the same thing.
Now shut up.
Well, I don't think it's about happy. I think it's about closure, and because with Inception, it allows you to decide, okay, is he in the real life, or is he still, you know? Well, and that's fine. It leaves you with right? And then each one will have our own opinion.
There's no bad outcome.
Yeah, some great movies of, for example, talking about, you know, the villain of 7. What's his name? Kevin Spacey, which is a wonderful actor. For example, American Beauty. That's, for me, that's one of my favourite movies of all time. And he dies at the end, right? He dies, and then the
Me Too movement.
But there's closure with the character, because his death, in a way, of the character is part of the story. You know, in a way, he has to die in order to set, because he's to set himself free, but also his daughter. His daughter, in the end, finds love. Also, there's his ex-wife, who's quite mean to him, who in the end continues to suffer. But so it's not about the happy ending. It's about a closure. Have you seen American Beauty now?
What one's that?
American Beauty with Kevin Spacey. Yeah, it's a wonderful film. That's one of my favorite films as well.
The way that I look at, I feel like it's one of two ways. It's when they have these open endings, like Inception or Shutter Island. It's like the director either, for one, can't close out a story, like they don't know how to close out a story, or they prefer to sit on the fence. So they don't want that person to be the bad guy or the good guy. They'd rather and it's a great way to end a movie. It really is.
Shutter Island is close to me.
Shutter Island is a great way to leave the movie.
However,
it's fucking annoying.
I think it's closed.
Don't you think that's annoying though?
No, because to me, it's close. And I've said this to so many
can't
people.
remember how it
Okay,
ends.
let me repeat the last line.
I saw it, but I can't remember.
Okay, long
No,
story short.
yeah, I'm on.
Yeah.
For you to say that, I'm on your side with
Yeah.
that.
I'm on
That's where I'm.
To me,
sitting.
it's close. That's it. That's the director got his point across. And it's either the
But he's sitting on the fence. Why not just fucking say
no,
it?
but that's the beauty of it. He didn't have to say it, and that's why the detective guy's going, hang on, wait.
There's absolutely no way.
Shutter Island, you've seen Shutter
Yeah,
Island.
I can't
But
remember the ending.
how he's going there and he thinks he's a detective, but really he's all played out for him
And,
in a mental asylum.
his main doctor
And
is,
he found
is
out
following him through it.
he found out that the whole thing was that he killed his wife and
That's
kids.
right. That's right.
But he's sitting there and they don't know if he really, and he's sitting on the outside and the guy's playing to be a lieutenant, and the guy's like, so what do you reckon about these nut jobs? Like the guy, he knows, and he's like, and he pretends to be still in that. The guy who's playing his sidekick, and Leonardo DiCaprio pretty much says is, you know what, man, I think we got to get off this island. I don't know about, and like still playing in the role, and you can see the sidekick go to the doctors. He goes, he's still gone. He's about to take him and they pick him up, about to take him for a lobotomy for the operation, and they stop him, and he turns around and
Last
goes,
words.
how the movie ends, he turns around and goes, there's one thing I've always wondered. Is it better to live a monster or die a good man? And he walks off. And then the detective goes,
Because he knows.
wait a minute. But he's saying he was pretending to not realise. But he couldn't deal with the fact that he did kill his kids. So he was actually rehabilitated.
No, he's
So he's repressing, but he was pretending to be. Then he goes, "Is it better to live as a monster, die a good man?" So he'd prefer to go to the lobotomy, knowing he did that,
No,
rather
well,
than
no,
pretend to be. You know, it's genius. But I think that's closure. I think that's
again. Spoilers. However, his wife killed the kids.
Yeah, that's
Drown
right.
him in the
Sorry,
river.
sorry,
Drown
yeah.
him in the river, and then he killed his wife because
That's
she
right.
did that, and then he went to a mental asylum.
But
in that
regardless,
situation,
he was with it. He was with
regardless,
it when he went.
absolutely, he was with it. Regardless, in that situation, if that happened to you, you'd want to die, not by your own hands though.
3 kids.
Your 3 kids, your wife. You come home from work and your wife just killed your kids, and you just strangled the fuck out of her. You got nothing to live for. At the end of the day, that bitch is crazy. She deserved to die because she took everything off you. But like at the same time, you're not gonna fucking trust anyone again.
Oh, you don't blame him.
So you go through all this extremities and stuff like that to do the same thing. But that's what I mean. Like, that's the only annoying part for me is that you connect with this character completely. And at the same time, the director leaves it open to the point where if you don't connect to the character, you have that perception of him. If you do connect to the character, you have the perception that we more or less lead you to. But just fucking end it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like...
Yeah, I remember
Just-
that.
just finish it off, close it out,
I remember
fuck it off.
Like Inception's a journey movie, and it never ends. And
That's probably the most annoying one.
Like the thing is,
That's
it's
the most
long.
annoying one,
It's
though.
long, but you feel like you've run a marathon. You go back, you go forward, you go in, you go out, you go down, you go dream, you go to the next dream, then you're in another dream, then you're back, and you jump back, and you're actually like tired, and you're just waiting, and what happens, and you learn the story of him and how he loves his wife, and the ending, you're just waiting, and you almost forget, and the spin top, like how they
doesn't
filmed
that-
that,
but
and
doesn't that annoy you?
they stopped that scene
The
in
amount
the
of-
most perfect spot. If you rewatch that spin top,
remember.
it's spinning, and you're watching, it stops. And it starts and it stops.
to stop, don't you?
Well,
No,
the thing is,
yeah, you do.
stops,
Yeah, you
it's
do.
in
He's in real life, yeah.
if it stops, it's in real life.
But it wobbles.
Yeah, because he's seeing
That's the
kids
thing,
again.
bro. That's the thing.
It wobbles
and it ends.
and then it starts slow. You don't know, but it's the perfect point of whether it's going to continue to be on. Yeah.
I'm on the other side.
But see, I love that. But I love,
I'm on the other
I
side.
love the. It's
Suspense.
a movie because you know what
I like that too.
a thing for me.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah, but the thing.
End it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
fuck no.
What did you want?
you want to know.
Pick one.
Yeah, but the
And
thing.
then he
one.
falls and then he finishes.
Yeah, that's it.
But Grant,
It
let
ends,
me.
and then, do you know what I mean? That's it.
Let me
you
tell
don't
you-
have to
But
fucking...
the thing
Yeah.
that's
Because,
right.
do you know,
They probably filmed that
that's what I
falling,
mean,
right?
yeah.
And they probably had asked lots of people, and they decided, look, let's just cut it
It's
there.
one or the other, yeah.
This is a big call.
Yeah, it's great.
You know why?
No.
Because that's why we're talking about it now. You know what I
As
mean?
a
If it had fallen, we wouldn't be talking
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
exactly right.
Listen,
That's a
move-
direct... as a director, it makes complete sense.
People are going to walk out of the cinema, watch and think, what do you think happened? Is he in
And
real
I
life?
respect that, and I completely respect that.
you know what
However, it also pisses me off because you spend how long was that movie? Like 3 hours.
Too long.
It was insane. They
That's
could have
right,
cut.
that's right. No, yeah,
They
it was
could
long.
have. They could have
Okay,
cut
it was
so
too
much shit
All you
out.
need is 90 minutes.
And that's
Okay, it was
That's the
too.
same as
Listen,
Quentin Tarantino
I agree.
movies.
Too long.
Same as
Too long.
the amount
Just
of
stop.
shit.
Quentin Tarantino, he needs someone sitting with him in the editing room
Like-
while he does lines of coke, just telling the editing guy, don't worry, just cut that scene.
Yeah.
It's too long already.
But
Just don't tell Quentin. Yeah.
like for instance, that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood never needed Margot Robbie. She didn't have to be in that movie.
Well, a lot of Hollywood movies bring in like a
stellar
romantic
chick,
type.
yeah.
So they can have a threesome with DiCaprio and Brad Pitt.
Well, yeah, lots of there's too many characters in most of the Hollywood movies because they need that romantic value, if you like, to the thing, but to a story. But yeah, I've seen lots of movies that they didn't need those characters.
Pardon me. I read that the reason why Quentin Tarantino had Margot Robbie on there
She's hot.
was one.
Oh, Brad Pitt and DiCaprio sitting there going, "We're gonna fuck. Margot Robbie's hot. Get her freeway."
Was one
Do you reckon she didn't?
because she was hot, and not in the not.
I mean, if you would work in the movie, of course you would too, man.
But
How do you think she
listen.
probably got the-
Hey, listen. The reason I read that the reason why he had her was one because she was hot, and also because she was like a big thing at the time.
Yeah, she was relevant because of Wolf of Wall Street.
And then you have
Another shit movie.
Yeah, but her in that movie.
Yeah.
She's fucking-
She's so hot.
insane.
Daddy's not. Oh, but he did that well too.
You see her titties in it and shit. Fucking insane.
The fat guy was miscast. Yeah.
Yeah, but did you hear what happened?
He took no money.
He took no money for that role.
Why?
He asked to work. He wanted to work with Quentin Tarantino so bad.
You could tell.
Yeah, no. He begged. He goes, "I want to do anything to
Yeah, no,
this
you
role."
could tell. You could tell.
They
They didn't
didn't-
get paid because he's.
Yeah, no. I thought it
No,
connected.
no.
It connected with the
Fuck up
younger.
the movie.
It connected with the younger. Who would you
You
have?
needed
who would you have
someone
there?
that
Nah,
could that
15.
could work with
Jack Black.
with. No. He can't act either. You
15
needed
grand.
someone that
He
can
got paid
act
15.
with Leonardo DiCaprio. You needed someone solid that could actually act. Like you needed someone.
I would have rathered
Okay.
Zach Galifianakis than that guy.
Well, someone that could just put on weight that can act. They just need to put on weight for that.
But no, to be fair,
I thought he did alright.
Who?
Yeah,
the fat guy. Nah, it just
a B grade.
it felt like I don't know, like American Pie or something like that. Like it felt like one of those movies where
I
Charlie
agree.
Sheen's gonna pop in
But
any moment. You know?
that's what I agree with the fact that you're so used to,
Okay,
but you're so used to seeing that dude in B grade movies. The fact that he lowers that production to that.
Yeah, but don't you think there was a humorous side to Wolf of Wall Street? That he
See, you needed someone like John Cusack, something like that, bit of weight.
But that's what they brought. The reason that's
a
the,
humorous side
Yeah.
to Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, but it was to tell the truth, my biggest complaint about that movie is too fucking long for that story. It's just a guy
shit,
doing coke,
wasn't
stealing money. I mean, you can do it in 90 minutes. You know what I mean? For fuck's sake, you can do.
what's a perfect time for a movie for you?
Just ask.
90 minutes,
ask-
95,
have you-
100 minutes max.
Have you seen The Hobbits?
Yeah.
Have you seen The Hobbits?
The who?
The Hobbits, the movie The Hobbits.
Yeah.
Did you think that was too long?
The thing is, that's different type. They are
But-
too long,
but-
but it's a mythical type movie, and it lends to that because there's lots of stories. It's like if you were to put the Iliad or the Odyssey on film or Troy, you know.
Less is more in that sense.
Because it's a big movie. Ben-Hur, that type of thing, those big stories. But those type of movies, one guy that opens up an office and does coke and has hookers. in there.
how much can you expand on that?
How many?
How much can you? Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's too fucking
Yeah,
long.
I agree, and that's the same with if you watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's the same thing. It's probably just Quentin Tarantino's movie. It's the same as Hateful Eight or whatever it was.
No, all of them are too
you
long.
got
Look at Pulp
Hateful-
Fiction. How long is Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, and it's a great movie.
It's half.
It's a
half
monumental-
the time of
it's
the other, one,
iconic.
and it's the best movies he's
Yeah.
ever made, and probably one of the greatest movies of all time.
Have you seen Hateful Eight?
Yeah. Again, too fucking
Imagine-
long.
but-
Too much blood coming out, and
But at the same time, it's one scene, isn't it? It's one scene.
it's one fucking scene. and he
What the
just
fuck?
and no, it just went on to because he wants to create. See, it's like the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, spaghetti westerns. They lend themselves for longer movies because of just the feel of it. But those other type of movies, they're too heavy with the dialogue, with the realistic type violence that they are. Where, for example, Pulp Fiction, you had 3 stories, mending one. All the characters were interesting. There was no wasting time. Every single second in the scene. In the scene was meant something. Yeah. For example, you talked about what's it called, Django, whatever it's called. What's it called?
Django Unchained.
Django. That the last half hour, it's ridiculous. Yeah. The 2 main characters, Leonardo DiCaprio and the other guy, the main guy who was the German guy in Inglourious Bastards.
Insane actor.
They die.
He was insane. Though.
Yeah, I know, but the characters die, and it goes on for another half an hour.
How fucking good was he?
He's brilliant, but that's what I'm saying. But the film, after the 2 main characters die, go for half an hour longer, and then Quentin Tarantino does a little cameo speaking in an Australian accent, which has nothing to do with the fucking story.
The reason why I brought that movie up was because we were talking about. I think we were getting into the Batman thing and how the Joker was pulling the bomb at the hospital. But the reason why I brought Django Unchained up was because in that movie, Leonardo DiCaprio... probably not. Leonardo DiCaprio smashed the glass. Leonardo DiCaprio smashed the glass on the table and actually cut his hand. And then he went over to Django's wife and rubbed his hand on her face and left blood all over her face. And he continued the scene. And that's what I mean about directors and good actors, is that they can mold and they can keep those situations because they trust them.
Yeah, you have to watch that scene.
It's insane. That's a really fucking good scene.
Think about Quentin Tarantino scene, how it's 10 minutes.
Yeah, but
No,
they didn't.
They didn't. 10 minutes, and mid thing he gets angry. He goes like this, hits the table, and he hits the glass, and he starts pissing out blood. And then it's just, and everyone knew. He walks. Then it's just, it's improv, and he grabs the girl.
But
he walks behind her.
Have you seen Apocalypse Now?
Hey,
an old movie from the 70s.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Is that where they...
Martin Sheen, which is Charlie Sheen's dad.
And they go on a long fucking walk and shit?
It's fucking mad.
They go on a long walk?
Yeah.
Like up a mountain and shit?
Well,
I think I've seen that.
There's a scene where Martin Sheen does the same thing. He has to film the next night. So he said, and he gets pissed and does anything. No, I'm all right. And he's actually bleeding, and they come and they keep filming. But you're an actor. You're getting paid millions of dollars, for fuck's sake. Of course, you're going to cut your hand every now and then. Yeah. Who gives a shit? You know, they're not heroes.
To look like a genius forever.
You know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So just back to the grand final, eh?
Back to sport like that. Oh, my head.
Let's just round off, I think.
Oh, you done?
Yeah.
Pata.
Cameron Smith.
The problem is, you'll talk all night.
Huh?
You'll talk all night.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No, he won't stop. That's it.
So
it'll be the longest podcast in history.
We haven't said anything about State of Origin. Give me your prediction.
I reckon State of Origin Shafware. That's what I think.
No more?
I don't think I'm going to fuck this year, do they?
Oh, once it starts, they will.
Yeah.
Because Channel 9 will do all the that.
Oh, the jouet. Yeah.
They'll do the scenes.
Yeah. And
with
feel cool to talk.
Yeah.
Around the stadium, yeah.
No. Once it starts,
it's
it'll
a battle of two soldiers coming face to face.
Mate versus mate.
Mate versus mate. State versus state.
Well, I think eventually they should leave it for the end of the year. Far better than in between, because it's a hassle for everyone, all the clubs and so forth.
The teams that have to do drugs for a week and fuck hookers.
They might. Well, next year they might just not start a week after the grand final. They might leave like 3 weeks, and they can recover off from coke and hookers.
So give them 2 weeks.
Well, I think 3 weeks I'll need. Next
give
year,
them 2 weeks. Surely they'll stop after.
They should do it every year at the end. No, that's right, man.
You have to.
Did you open it?
Yeah.
No, don't open it. I don't want it anymore. No. But look, State of Origin. Do you close the door, because there's the footy players sleeping on the other side. No, we're just talking about state of origin.
Worse.
I think every year they should do it at the end of the year, but give 3 weeks after. Because remember, the grand final was played later in October. It would have been played first week of October or whatever. So that means third week of October you can have state of origin, finishing first week of November. Perfect. Now it's starting first week of November, because it's far better than in between, because then it doesn't create all this drama for the clubs that have to give the players for the state
Not
of
worried
origin.
about injury. Not
But at
worried
the
about-
end, but give them
Fair
3
enough.
weeks, because after the grand final, they want to
Don't
party,
you
whatever.
think- for instance, think about the player though. 3 weeks, wait, keeping fit, got to play state of origin.
Well, there's only one team that wins the grand final that's going to happen to that. Everyone else is already going to be in camp.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
This year's
Carlo.
the first year that the Origin's doing it 3 weeks in a row. I reckon that's better.
no, it is.
I reckon it's better, and they should keep it at the end of the season.
Think about the player.
What's wrong with the player?
Okay, you play for Eels, you get knocked out in the semi, you get chosen for Origin, you got to go into camp for 8 weeks, stay fit for 8 weeks, and you still got to wait for the semis.
That's all right. They get paid for that.
Yeah, but they've got to have a break as well.
They'll have a break till March. That's what they do full time. It's not like they got to go and work in a factory.
I feel like there's going to be some players that like lavish that, like they love the fact that they're constantly
Hookers and
doing,
coke.
they're constantly
Oh,
going, and there's going to be players that aren't like that. They need that rest, and that's just going to be those weigh-ins.
Yeah, the ones that need the rest, they get picked. That's it. You just go with the ones. But I think it will work well for the end of the year, because people after the grand final, you get used to so much footy, and then you got more footy.
And the biggest of the footy.
Yeah.
It's it's climactic ending.
You also get people,
As we were saying before, closure.
And not only that,
It's
for the
closure.
players, especially for the new players going into Origin, they've got a whole season to make the team.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Rather than
Okay.
because Origin,
point.
once they're played in July, it starts in March, April, May. It's been picked already.
Yeah, it's true. If 2 weeks, it's been picked before last year.
But this way, if you're a good player throughout, you've got a really good chance to make the team throughout the season, I think.
and you also get these players that didn't make the grand final or didn't make the semis and stuff like that are hungry, that want to prove themselves that they deserve to be in those spots and they deserve to be picked for those teams. And then it's a great game of footy. And you just watched a grand final whether your team lost or won. You also got this a sort of safety net for your team to continue to keep going, and it's good that they get it 3
And
weeks.
it's far
in a
better
row.
for the clubs, because they don't have to rest people. So they lose the player that week they play, plus they rest them. They're losing their best players for 6 weeks in the middle of the
hard.
of the season. I think it's far better at the end.
I agree with the end.
But I think for next year, if they did that, they just started earlier.
How would you do it different?
No, I think 3 weeks is fine. 1, 2, 3, 3 weeks. The only thing I'd change was that they should play in Melbourne, one of them, and one in New South Wales and one in Queensland. That's
One
it.
every state.
What do you think about them bringing like a third team to it? So that if they had like a New Zealand or Islander sort of team,
No.
not keen.
No,
Bro, I'd be into
that
that.
wouldn't be state of origin then.
No,
You know?
yeah. There's a history with state of origin.
Well, I guess they have the nines or they have the
There's
other.
there's a comp, but you bring it's a state of origin. Yeah.
Well, that would be an international games. Then it would be the Australian team against.
They have that.
I feel, yeah. Then Australia
No,
would
you
play
reckon it's
this.
got to stay. It's too traditional.
Well, they also have the Australians versus the Aboriginal or whatever.
Yeah,
it is
they got
as well,
everything.
yeah. The Maoris, the Aboriginal one.
Yeah, no, they got all of that. But is there any Victorian players that play, or do they come up to New South
there
Wales?
is. No, they would.
What happens with them? They come up. I think they choose a state.
No. You have to be born in a state, I think, to play for that state.
It's the same as New Zealander players and stuff.
Yeah,
Like that.
okay,
They can't play for.
Yeah,
New,
but they
New
do,
South Wales.
because if they choose to be, what about
No,
all
there's
these
Well, they
folks?
can't
players that
just
are like
choose.
that. There's players that
They do.
there's players that are born.
Okay.
There's players that are
I'm going to show you
born-
an example for Feeder. Perfect example for Feeder. He's played David Feeder.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Cronulla
the
players.
psychopath.
There's
He's
players-
played for New South Wales. He plays for Tonga or Samoa, whatever the fuck he plays for as a country. He doesn't play for Australia, and they shop and train. So
I think the thing is there.
but he might have been born here and then swapped later over there.
Well, maybe he was born here and his parents are from over there. Who knows?
Or vice versa.
I think they're trying to.
It's the same thing. It's either they or other. It's the same as there's some people that are born in Queensland, but they reside in New South Wales.
And they play for who?
New South Wales. Or vice versa. Like they were born in Queensland, however they moved as children and grew up in New South Wales. It's just the same thing. Who are you going to play for? The place that you lived and grew up in, or where you were born and lived there for 9 months. Do you know what I mean? That's the same thing.
Well, it's all about the thing of the thing in the end.
Well, who was the player that just did the Australian against the Aboriginals? Addo Carr or
He's full Abbo.
No, sorry, not
He's Abbo.
No, it was Aboriginal versus Maori, and there was a player that swapped to the Maori team.
Yeah, they all do it now.
Who was that?
But you know what the reason is, which I support, is that they're trying to lift the Islander teams.
Yeah,
So they're trying to lift the Samoa Tonga. So all these players leave Australian heritage, they go over there. Anyway.
Well, the thing is, if they know they're not going to get picked for the Australian team, they can play for that team.
Yeah.
What team would you prefer to play for?
Hey, listen to this.
Oh, you want to play for Australia, I suppose.
Or the
but
one
that's the team that's going to win.
You want to play for the team that you
Like
They have a better
in the
chance.
World Cup.
They have a better chance. Yeah.
In the World Cup, it's either Australia, maybe New Zealand every now and then.
Yeah, but I don't know. Playing for the team that you feel closest to, playing for a team like Tonga that's coming up against a team and you win.
Well, I feel like
The crowd they get. Imagine like playing for Australia, but playing for a team that's an underdog and playing good. Like let's say for FIDA, everyone goes to Samoa. Playing for the team you feel more tied to, and then doing well is far better than playing for Australia and winning as you're expected.
Wouldn't it be like?
I prefer to play for the underdog.
But wouldn't it be?
It'd be
It'd be
if
like-
you feel tied to that country.
But it'd be like playing with your friends or your family. Realistically, that's the same. That's the same way they'd probably look at it. So it's like you play soccer with, and you're in the same bracket of a tournament. You either play with your family or you play with your best mates. Like it's just, it's probably the way that they look at it.
Yeah, I think there would be the odd player who would have that loyalty, but most of them would decide to see what team actually picks them, because bird in hand, I would think that, as an athlete, that's what I would do. So if I've got a sure spot somewhere and I'm going to be maybe one of the main players and a starter,
100%.
and maybe even in the leading group and possibly even captain, of course, you'd go with that.
Okay.
But also there would be the financial factor as well. I would suspect that the Australian team would pay better. I don't know, but I would suspect that, yeah.
Plus, probably more games.
That would also come
Which
down
comes
to,
with, once you, like you said, financial. More games, more money.
Well, the thing is with NRL, the international representative team, which is, the Kangaroos, hasn't really ever been that important like like
State of Origin's
other
been
teams.
bigger.
State of Origin is far bigger. So it's just a matter of getting games and continue to play and getting paid, because that's what they do. They need to... they want to continue to get paid apart from what their club is giving them. They're getting paid for representative duties.
Do you know how much they get paid for State of Origin? Anyone know? I know. I just thought out of curiosity.
20 grand or something or more?
It's more.
definitely more than that. It'd be
30 grand. It's 30 grand.
30
a game.
grand. It was 20 grand when I knew,
I
but
was gonna say close to 50.
It's 30 grand a game.
everyone the same?
Not too sure. I know that's roughly the figure.
That'd be
30
for a
grand
start.
game.
Surely that'd be for a
Per
starter.
game?
Per game.
That
Per
would have to
game,
be
yeah,
for
yeah.
a starter though, right?
I don't know. Actually, because they get dragged
Reserves?
away from their team and the camp thing. I reckon it's probably everyone. Maybe it's a set thing.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't know.
It probably
Just
would
thinking
be,
about the logistics between club and stuff, I actually probably think it's the one that's even.
because there's no cap. There's no cap, is there? For Origin?
Nah, it's different. They might even get more. Who knows?
I would imagine it could be just. Well, it's 3 weeks, and you get 30 grand per game you play.
Plus, you're still on contract for your club,
That's 90 grand.
and you're with your for what? The first 3 weeks you're out with your mates from other club. You don't get to see. They're partying for the first.
But who's
3
gonna,
nights.
who's gonna
Don't tell me that
turn
they're
down?
not away. They don't have to train for a bit, and they do bonding sessions. They're not partying for a bit.
And also, who's going to turn that down? 90 grand.
Don't have
free.
to play for the week before.
And the reserves are going to get used as well. The subs and shit are going to get used.
100%.
So you're going to get picked because you're the best.
Anyway, what's your prediction for State of Origin? What do you think is going to happen?
I think New South Wales win the first I'd like the Queensland to win the second and then us to win the third to make it a competitive. I hate Origin.
Well, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen?
The complete
what's the result? The result over
New
3
South-
games.
Put who
New South Wales or
you
Queensland?
put who you support aside. What's going to happen? Prediction.
Out of 3 games, what's the score?
Am I going off this the season that just happened?
Just who you
That's all-
Yeah, whatever the next 3 games in 2020. What's going to is it going to be
What do you
3-0, 3
Look at it how you are.
2-1
What do you reckon?
I think 2-1, and I can see going either way.
for who?
Don't be a fence sitter.
Either way.
Nah.
But if I'm not being a fence sitter, Jesus Christ. If I'm not being a fence sitter, I reckon New South Wales because I feel like they're going to come hungrier.
Right, so 2-1 New South Wales.
Yeah.
Right, what about you, Sebastian?
I'm going to put it aside and say 2-1 Queensland.
Yeah.
Even though I want New South Wales to win.
All right.
Why? Why would you pick Queensland over New South Wales?
I don't know. Just the back of the storm. I think Cleary's.
There's a couple of Storm players that are in New South Wales.
Yeah.
Like
Adam Carr. Yeah.
It's
but
it's
I'm
it's
talking
probably
about influential.
50-50
I'm
still.
talking Munster. I don't know.
I don't think Munster's going to do much. He hasn't done much. I personally think it's 3-0 New South Wales.
Wow.
It's just a disparity of the teams. But what I saw anyway,
So who's the Queensland halves? Munster and who?
I think Hunt is there as well. And,
Ponga?
Hunt.
Ponga, is Ponga in? No, I think. Oh no, he had shoulder. Actually,
Ponga's not in. No, Ponga's
Yeah, 'cause
not
he's
playing.
got shoulder
I mean, the
surgery.
only one that could give something would be Papali. But I think,
Great player.
I think, look,
The best forward to this day.
9/10 of the New South Wales team is the Australian team. I mean, it's just now that it's
Who's
it's
in the halves? Cleary and
Cleary and
Pierce.
Cookie's the the Rabbitohs 5/8
Reynolds.
Reynolds, yeah, I think. Oh no, Reynolds is the half, the other the 6.
Oh, Walker.
Walker, yeah,
Cody Walker.
yeah. I think Walker and
So
and
what's
Cleary.
who? It's Munster and who?
I think it's Munster and
Who's our
Cherry
wingers?
Evans. But
Who's
you
our
know,
wingers?
well,
Here's
really,
the
it's
thing.
Addo Carr.
Once again, this is what's
Addo
weird.
Carr and probably the Parramatta
See,
wing if he's fit.
This is my
What's
exact.
it? Ferguson.
This is
probably.
my exact
If
point.
he's fit, I don't know.
When was the last time Sherry Evans played?
No, he played. Manly.
Yeah, Manly.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he would have continued to be fit. Yeah,
He
yeah.
would. You can tell he would.
But he's getting old, and he's not.
He's a
He's
great
not
player.
going to change. He's not going to change a game though. He's not like Johns or even Cleary.
Not
I
in
mean,
not in an Origin game.
No.
He's not going to change much. However, in an ordinary game, he's a standout player. And I mean, he's a drop kick.
but
I don't like him.
the two
However,
best halves. Actually, all the back line, the best back line of
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
of the whole
It's New South
season
Wales.
is New South Wales.
True.
You've got
Cleary,
number
Walker.
1
what's his name?
Roosters.
Papin,
No.
Teddy.
Teddy. Number
he
1.
playing?
He was
Is he
yeah.
playing? Oh, he's playing.
He's the best fullback without
And he's
doubt.
playing.
Number
Is
2,
he
Addo
playing?
Carr.
Is he playing?
Number 2, Addo Carr.
Dylan Edwards is fullback, isn't he?
No. Who?
Where does Dylan Edwards play? For Panthers. He's our fullback, isn't he?
Who are the centers for New South
Oh
Wales?
yeah, Edwards is fullback for.
So you got the best
No,
fullback.
but you got Teddy and Pappenhausen in front of.
You got the best
Well,
fullback.
yeah, that's
They might
right.
even put Pappenhausen in the other wing.
But
You know
I'm
what I mean?
saying,
I'd put still Pappenhausen on for sure.
You put it. So you say you got Tedesco.
Is he in the team,
You've got
Pappy?
Addo Carr. You've got Cleary, and you've got Walker,
Ferguson as well.
which were the
And
4
Cook.
best.
and Cook.
players.
And Cook as you got
Oh,
the
yeah.
5
Insane.
best. And you've got actually the best 13, the best lock from which I think is right too from Rabbitohs. Like I forgot his name now, but he was the best lock as well. But if you don't count him as, that's fine too. But you got the 5 best. They're probably going to make the Australian team. You know what I mean? And that's without counting the centres. I don't even know who the centres are for New South Wales. But yeah. So anyway, I think 3-0. You think 2-1 New South Wales, and Sebastian 2-1 Queensland. We'll see what happens at the end of this.
The reason why I like to think that it's 2-1 is it just makes that third game more exciting. I mean, even last year.
I can't see how Queensland can beat this side. You know, with everyone playing, that is, you know what I mean?
Well, what have we won the last 2 years in a row? Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Oh,
And
really?
then before that, it was like Queensland went like 9-10 years in a row.
Yeah, but that's what Cronk and Slater left,
Yeah.
and Cameron Smith.
Who's the hooker for Queensland now?
Probably Hunt.
No, Smith's not in there because he's on a bender in Byron.
Smith hasn't been picked. Probably Hunt. Hunt for Red October.
Didn't Cameron Smith come in the second game last year?
No.
Or was that when did Billy Slater play last?
2 years ago.
Fuck, wasn't that an era? Wasn't wind back to 9 or 8 years straight? Queensland.
Well,
Same.
Queensland, like
You
say
could-
4 years ago, 5 years ago, they had what New South Wales had here. All the back line was the Australian back line. You know what I mean, from the fullback all the way to the 7.
But it's also the players who play together every week. You know what I mean? It's not just that they were the best players. They actually Cronk, Smith, Slater, every week in, week out together. They know how they play.
But
that's huge.
And that's but
huge.
That's the three biggest positions in rugby league.
last year, that's what Roosters did though. Roosters, they connected so well. Their chemistry on the pitch
Kiri.
was insane.
Yeah.
Well, it was fucking insane.
What about Kiri? He didn't get. Did he have a bad year or what? What?
That's a problem with Parramatta.
good.
That's the biggest problem with Parramatta, is that they just don't have that chemistry. They start off the year insane. They always end up at the top of the ladder, but then they just fucking fuck out, and then they don't trust. They don't end up trusting each other. Like Ferguson,
Yeah.
great defense, great attack. But I don't remember who's on his inside. But they just didn't trust each other, and they'd both go for the same tackle. They'd get the cutout ball, and then it was over, and they get into its try.
How long do you think this? Don't say anything. How long do you think this has been going for, Dad? How long do you think this has been going for? You can't look at the computer.
Oh, no, 2 hours?
Yeah.
Well, round that off.
Hour and 56 minutes.
All right. Done, huh?
Well-
Go to bed.
Yeah, well, fuck. We covered everything, didn't we? It wasn't even a podcast about a specific subject. We went from sport to music to psychology.
You know what it was? The subject was competitive.
Closure.
It was just about competing.
It was like doing a pre.
Touch on all subjects.
All right. Closing statements. Go.
And in conclusion, I guess what we found today is that it's not always what Carlos says. It's no, it's not always about. Everyone has their own perspective on everything. Some people may view whether it's sport, a movie in one way, and it doesn't necessarily mean one's wrong or one's right. So be mad cats.
My conclusion on it.
I said one's wrong or one's white. You wrong, Penny Wong. Yeah, you wrong, Penny Wong. Imagine if she's listening.
The conclusion.
She shut us down. The one person who was listening was Penny Wong. That's it, you're done. Sorry, brother.
The conclusion is
Please.
there's fence sitters, there's bandwagoners. Regardless, everyone's fucking wrong. There's no right. There's no
The
right.
thing is that all we have is a slice of reality, my friend.
Come on, bring it home.
And that's why, going back to Induction, what's the name of that movie for Leonardo DiCaprio? Induction, or what's it called? Inception.
Induction. He fucked it. He's over. He's fucked it already.
Induction. Inception. It doesn't really matter whether the little thingamajig falls or not, because that's the reality anyway. Whether you're in the real reality or the other reality, it's still a reality.
That's how we started.
Genius.
It's like when you wake up from a dream and you thought it was true. It doesn't matter whether it fell or not. That's what it means.
There's your side, there's my side, then there's the
It
truth.
doesn't matter as long as you have your reality. It doesn't matter if it's made up. Just go with it, guys. And anyway, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Done. Bye.
Don't do, no, let him do it.